Welcome to the complete, no BS, nothing held back, all secrets revealed cold calling guide. Basically just everything you need to know about cold calling. And it's going to be from A to Z. This comprehensive guide covers everything you'll need to know about cold calling, including setting up for a good cold call, the scripts I'll share with you, the tonality and more. Alhamdulillah, glory be to God for allowing me to share this with you. I've survived over 4,000 or 5,000 cold calls. I've honestly lost track. I've only tracked around 1,408 and I've learned a fair amount, to be fair, from these cold calls. I've also done 153 tracked rejections, but probably over 500 rejections overall if we do the maths for the same percentage, around 20% or 25% of rejections, and I know how to dodge them at this point, right? And if you plan on cold calling again, you need this guide to ensure you don't make the mistakes that I made. And on the agenda today, we'll be looking at the prerequisites for cold calling, the mindset to have a good cold call, setting up the perfect cold call. I'm going to be sharing with you scripts, obviously, but I'll walk you through the lead sourcing, how to handle gatekeepers if you guys are in a niche where you have to deal with gatekeepers, and the decision maker pitch, objection handling, and then actually getting them to show up. Because if I quickly show you guys my, leads, if you wanted to look, by the way, interested, that's how many I got after a little bit. And then uninterested, as you can see, probably 10 times that, 77 no's, right? So I think I know how to deal with a no at this point. And then you've got 76 no's right here. So these are kind of the data I had with my prospects. And this is Canada, this is UK. These are the metrics I had for the UK when I was tracking it. So cold calls, I did in total 919. Yeah, 919. And then resonation rate, pitch rate. We'll go all over this data in the later sections so you guys know what it means. But as you can see, appointment booking rate, not very good. This is after I improved what I was doing, and I stopped tracking after this point for some reason. But my appointment booking rate was around 2%, and sometimes it hovered around 3%, which was amazing. So I've got the scripts that I'm going to show you here later on, but let's start off with the prerequisites. Why are you cold calling? And I want you to look at the real reason why you're cold calling. Most people find cold calling difficult. Okay, already you are putting your energy towards something negative. And you have to remember throughout this entire process, and hopefully for the rest of your life, where energy flows, focus goes. So if you put your focus in negative things, your energy will flow towards negative things. And vice versa. If you put your energy towards negative things, then your focus will end up going to those negative things. People don't understand why they're cold calling and get attached to the outcome of cold calling. And I've highlighted the keyword here, skills, because you are cold calling because it bloody works. And if you're in SMMA, if you're doing appointment setting, whatever you're doing, this is going to work for you. But you have to see it as a skill that you're going to develop. And with these skills will come business opportunities. With these business opportunities, will come more money. So cold call for the sake of cold calling. Not necessarily for setting the appointment, but just cold call for the sake of cold calling. Because cold calling can bring you a lot of the things that you're looking for. There's no need to attach yourself to booking meetings. Attach yourself to the number of cold calls themselves. You'll find a lot more success when you do that. What is a cold call? I found when I speak to my students, a lot of the time they struggle to define what a cold call is. Well, I say they struggle to define it. It's obvious what a cold call is, but the way I define it helps frame it in a lot better ways to kind of give you the opportunity to actually do an effective cold call and to kind of get the pressure off you, which is a big thing, right? Because when you're holding that phone, you feel a lot of pressure. Maybe you don't even want to start the cold call. We'll go over procrastination in a second as well. But it's a conversation with a stranger over the phone. And like every conversation with a stranger, you can't waltz in and expect to be understood, expect to be trusted or liked. You've literally just walked in. Imagine you walk up to a person in the gym and you say, "Hey, my name is Fedi, you look really cool today." What the heck is going to happen there? Nothing, right? Just because you gave them saying they look cool, they're just not going to say anything, right? You have to build trust, you have to build rapport, and all of that can be done on a cold call in like 30 seconds. From the way I'm going to show you, So it's no biggie if someone rejects you. You're speaking to strangers, right? You're going to get better at speaking to strangers and you'll be able to make more friends and friends end up paying you. And why is everyone an NPC? All my students always ask me, because I always say people are NPCs on cold calls. Why is everyone an NPC? Everyone is an NPC because they're stupid and will say not interested before you even say anything. These are called knee-jerk responses, and we'll look at them when handling objections, and I'll teach you how to overcome them perfectly. And NPCs have pre-programmed things to say, and your prospects, everyone in life, by the way, it's not just the prospects, are the same. Like if you use specific trigger words, people without even realizing will say something. And it's this pattern that we have in our mind where if we receive a certain stimulus, we try and give a certain response back to that stimulus. And all you're doing in cold calling is making sure that people that have those knee-jerk responses, you end up dealing with it. And they actually wake up from being an NPC, right? Research. John Platten made a video about this recently, and no disrespect to John Platten, he knows more than me, obviously. Like, I hear loads of people mention research. And in sales, there's something called intent data. So it's data that you have based on the intention of a business. So the example I like to give is if a company starts Facebook ads, they intend to market. Therefore, you can call them and say, hey, I noticed you're running Facebook ads. Often that means, and then you can link your pitch to it, okay? And this can make your calls a lot warmer, because they're like, oh, sick, this person's done research, they know why they're reaching out to me in the first place. And it kind of goes back to the original question, why are you cold calling, or what is a cold call? If the prospect sees you have the intention to help them based on your research, the cold call ends up being a lot warmer, okay? And I actually spoke to a prospect recently on a sales call, and he mentioned doing this for his cold calls, and we basically just agreed that they're lukewarm calls, right? They're not warm calls, but they're basically lukewarm. The person doesn't see it as a cold call anymore. And this makes your calls warmer, as I just said. But do you have access to intent data? Probably not. It's quite expensive. You can find it on Zoom Info, if I just add it on here. Zoom Info. Pretty sure you can find intent data on there. But I assume you want everything for free, so I'm just going to give you everything you can do for free. And you don't really need intent data, right? It's useful, but you don't really need it. Is cold calling worth it? Yes, it will be, as long as you're no longer a retard on the phone, right? So yes, I can show you how cold calling is going to be worth it. This is the most important part of the video, in my opinion. And I really want you to focus on this part. Take notes, reflect. This is going to help you even improve your cold calls by 1%, as you can see here. Just improving by 1% in terms of the appointment booking rate, without anything changing in your script. I can promise you can get that just from changing your mindset. Cold calling is all about you building yourself. Practice your skills enough times so that these skills become more valuable, and then they become valuable enough to then make you money. And you will suck at the start, but put your ego aside and just suck for a bit. Like, it's no big deal. It doesn't make you any less of a good or worthy person. Like, if you're bad at cold calls, it doesn't make you a worse person than the guy who is good at cold calls. It makes you an idiot if you do give up, though. That's the only thing. It's not going to make you worse still, right? You're still the same person. It's just going to make you an idiot. And when I started cold calling, I stuttered and was silent because I didn't know what to say. And, you know, to be honest, I just expected the world from it, right? I thought I was going to cold call and book 10 appointments a day. It makes you an idiot if you give up. That's the main point that I want to go back to. At this point, even after I stuttered and was silent and I didn't get the results I wanted to get, I didn't give up. So for your first 1,000 cold calls, just see them as practice. I say over 5,000. I promise you, I've probably got in the 4 or 5 figures in regards to cold calls. But just for your first 1,000, just see it as practice. Don't expect any sort of appointments to be booked from them. Just see it as practice. Your job is to do 1,000 cold calls. And with every 50 conversations, you look at the data, change things around. Okay? Because you're a mad scientist at work now. You're an athlete obsessed with training. Athletes watch over their tapes every single day. I want you to review your cold calls every Saturday and look at the data every single day. Cold calling, just like everything else in life, is just an action. And this action can give you leverage only if you adapt it to your situation. So get rid of all limiting beliefs about cold calling by affirming that you are an excellent cold caller and that prospects love to hear from you because you're bringing them value. You're going to solve them the biggest issue they have in their business, which is client acquisition. Then go out and cold call. Build proof of your abilities. Again, people just do random affirmations, right? But it doesn't do anything if you're not going to build proof of them. Build evidence of your value to decision makers, and only then will your beliefs change. So don't expect anything to change by you just shouting affirmations in the air. Go out and take some action. How do I stop procrastinating? Very good question. You do the work. You absolute buffoon. Just do the work, right? There's no procrastination once you get started. So when you get started with like a task, you don't see yourself procrastinating anymore, do you? It's just like that first step to get started. So just get started. Just get yourself started. You won't procrastinate with the task anymore. Cold calling as soon as you can is probably the best tip I can give anyone who procrastinates from cold calling. I used to cold call at 9 a.m. until 12 p.m, so for 3 hours, and then 3 p.m. until 5 p.m, so 2 hours. So just 5 hours of cold calls a day. And my priority was cold calling. There was no procrastination once I started. So the only time I'd procrastinate is like at 8:55 a.m. and then at 2:55 a.m. Sorry, p.m. 2:55 p.m. Those are the only times I would procrastinate. But then once I got started, I got started. So giving yourself a time to start can often get rid of procrastination because you're like, okay, it's 9 a.m, I just need to get started. And there's a little side note, if you wake up past 9 a.m, like if you say I'm going to do this at 9 a.m. and then you end up waking up past it, get started straight away. Why would you just wash your face and get started? Like show yourself enough decent self-respect to stick to your plan for the day, okay? Setting up for the perfect cold call. So this is like softwares and stuff. Just have your phone, right? I used to use Go High Level when I had my agency with a power dialer, and you can look up videos, Go High Level power dialer. Someone will show you how to set it up. But I used to use my phone for most of my cold calls to the UK because I'm from the UK. And there's obviously loads of softwares you can use. Just either use Go High Level or Skype. Like if you don't use Go High Level for anything else, don't use it. Don't buy it just for cold calling. Just use Skype. It's really inexpensive. It's like £15 a month, £20 a month. It's going to be fine. You're going to get a huge ROI after watching this video in regards to cold calling anyways. So, grow a pair of balls. Don't look for anything fancy. Just get started. Okay? I'm going to show you lead sourcing very quickly, how it works. So, I found this software from this guy called Mike, who's an absolute G. It's called Scrape Table. Okay, so you go on Maps. You have to go on Google Maps itself first. And then you look up the thing. So for example, I put dentists, and then you have the dentist near you. You can fully load it. It doesn't really matter. Just copy and paste the link into here, and then you paste the URL. So obviously, as you can see, I've already done that. And then you enter your keywords, which for me, I'll put dentists, Coventry. Now I'll search. So it's just going to do its thing. And then, bam, you found 63 unique businesses with keyword dentistry. So if I open it, I got it downloaded here. If I just open a new file, just to show you guys what it's going to look like, bam, we go over here, there you go. You got their phone numbers, you got their name, the business ID you won't need. So what I would do is just delete all of these things. You can keep reviews if you guys do reviews or something, if you help people with reviews. Types, don't care, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, don't care. Like if you guys want to cold call on Saturday to see when they're open, you can do, obviously, Monday, Tuesday. And then the city I would like to keep as well. Verified, photos, description, don't care. So I just go bam, delete, there you go. Now I've got the important information I need. I would put it in my tracker here with the people, and I'd find their names. So I'd go on their websites, find their names. This is probably one of the most important things you guys can do. It's just literally go on their name, go on their website, sorry, and look for the person's name, right? So let's just close it. I'll just give you a random example. Meet the team. Let's see, principal dentist. So I'd be reaching out to the principal dentist. He's the owner. He's the guy that makes all the decisions. Oh, sick. I've worked with Cheatin at some point. Oh, that's really cool. Anyways, basically just, you got it, Amric, right? You copy and paste the name, Amric. You put a new one here. It could be a business owner name. Business owner. There you go, Amric. Bam. And then you got the phone number, which is the main part that you need. You got the address. You got the website. You got everything. Saved you, what, like an hour of lead sourcing? So that's how you want to do the lead sourcing, okay? That's it. Like, lead sourcing is really simple. Just every Monday, go through, get some new leads, put them in your tracking sheet, and that's literally it, right? If you want all the, by the way, tracking sheets and everything like that, there's a free community link to my community. I have all the resources in there, so feel free to click it and join, and you'll find the resources section on the right-hand side, and you can press cold calling, and you'll get all the resources that I'm showing you here. In terms of gatekeepers, now, if you can see my data here, like my pitch rate was terrible. I'd only reach 5%, like I'd only have a conversation. Every 100 cold calls, I'd have 5 conversations with a decision maker. I wouldn't have 5 conversations with people. That's the decision maker. That means I'd either have 95 conversations with gatekeepers, or I would literally just end up not getting past the gatekeeper, or someone doesn't pick up at all. And these 5 conversations that I had, everything follows through there. Everything follows based on those 5 conversations that I had. Therefore, it's very important that you learn how to get past the gatekeeper. And I found a couple solutions to this. The most important part, by the way, is tonality with the gatekeepers. That is literally the most important thing. And look at my data as I've just shown you. I couldn't speak to many decision makers because the gatekeepers were hard to get past. And there are 2 solutions to this. 1, don't cold call if your niche has a lot of receptionists. Like, if I wasn't so adamant to cold call while in the dentistry niche, I just wouldn't have cold called at all. Like, there's better ways for me to reach out to potential clients and to get clients in the first place. Like, if your niche has loads of receptionists, maybe don't cold call. Generally, like, it's worth it only if you're able to speak to decision makers. Or the second choice is become a G, which is what I did. The latter is stupid, but it's what I picked. I was in the dental niche and there were nothing but gatekeepers. But you do want to speak to the gatekeepers, you know, you want to sound to them as the most important person ever. So when you're speaking to them, sound as if you were the most important person in the world. Because they should feel self-conscious about not letting you through, because if it was something really important, they could either potentially get fired and lose their job, or just get told off by their boss. So whenever you are working on tonality, remember, speak to the gatekeeper as if you are the most important person ever. And also call the prospect as if they're expecting to hear from you. I'll show you guys what it looks like in the script. But you want to call the prospect as if they should be expecting to hear from you. And that's why it's key to have their name. Like if I cold called Bandau Dental Practice and I didn't have Amrik's name, they'll be like, oh, this guy's just another salesperson. But if I have his name and I know who I'm reaching out to, it tends to work, right? So let me show you how to do this. Hi. By the way, this is if you don't have the name, right? Hi, I'm looking to speak to the office manager. Do you know who that would be? That would be name. Or they might say, who's calling? Me. It's Fedi. Nothing else. It's Fedi. If I do have their name, hi, could you transfer me to John, please? Or could you transfer me to John? Thanks. That's it. It's transferred, go to the decision maker script, right? Then, what's the call regarding? It'd be something I need to share with them directly. That's all I'd say. Exact same tonality. They're not available. Can I take a message? Sure, it's Fedi. Let them know I'll call back in an hour or so. Thanks, Samantha. See you later. Them. They're not interested. This was really cheeky, by the way, a bit of a black hat tactic. I used to just hang up and then call back again, like the next day, and just say that it had cut out last time, and I apologize for it cutting out, and if I could be put through to John. That's it. So basically, I would pretend that I didn't hear what they said because the call had cut out, even though I heard them say they're not interested. And the reason I do this is because the gatekeeper has no right to tell me if they're interested or not interested. The gatekeeper can't make a single business decision, okay? It's the reality of it. So I'm not going to take a no from a gatekeeper. I'm not that stupid, okay? So note, this is the most important note, do not pitch the gatekeeper. Do not even tell them what your service is. If they do not give you the necessary information, just hang up, move on, and call the next person. This is the only time this is the only things I'd say to the gatekeeper. This is it. I wouldn't say anything else to them. I won't say, oh yeah, no, I need to speak to them about the Facebook ads, or I need to speak to them. This is it. I'm looking to speak to the office manager. Do you know who that would be if I didn't have the name? And then I'd get the name, and then I'd usually hang up. Or I'd say, are they currently available to speak? That's it. If I do have the name, could you transfer me to John? Thanks. And if they don't transfer me to John, I say, look, John should be expecting my call. I'll call back in an hour if John's available then. That is literally it. And you will be put through. Because if I show you the difference, as you can see, my pitch rate doubled. I got past either the double amount of gatekeepers or people picked up more often. By the way, when I was cold calling Canada, I had a lot of people not pick up in the first place. I don't know why, they were probably just busy. But that's something that you guys can definitely use. This strategy will get you past the gatekeepers. There is nothing else for me to tell you about it. Like, you will get past gatekeepers if you speak to them as if you're the most important person in the world. Next, I have the decision maker. So remember, these people are ordinary people. Right? The biggest mindset shift I had to have was that these are ordinary people. There's no need to put them on a pedestal. They are men. And when I say men, they could be also women. I'm saying they are man, right? They are a creation. They're nothing compared to God. Nothing. In God's eye, we're all on the same level. So why would you challenge that? Why would you try and differentiate yourself and put yourself beneath someone? We're all on the same level. So go into the call expecting to give value. You're there to solve a business solution for them, okay? And the script is super, super simple that I'm going to share with you guys. There are two versions. Use script 1 for your first 1,000 cold calls. Afterwards, you can try to use script 2, right? And script 2 is the one I used later on, but you want to use script 1 for most of it, okay? Let me just fix that, there you go. You are here to persuade the person, not to convince them. So this is the most important thing I need you guys to remember. If you ask them, hey, are you able to take on more clients? And if they say no, you just let it go. If they don't say yes, you let it go. You cannot convince them, you can only persuade them. And the difference between persuasion and convincing is that when you persuade someone, they already have the need or they have the want, and you're just helping them choose you. Convincing them, you're trying to tell them that they have a want and need. That one they probably aren't aware of, or two they don't have. Chris Bumstead, right, the Mr. Olympia. Hey, Chris, you need to work out more often. He was like, no, I don't. Unless you can persuade him with some very new science that he's interested in, he's not going to care. You're not going to make him work out more, right? So if they don't need your services, just hang up, okay? And before I go into the script, the decision maker only cares about the end outcome. They'll shoo you away if you're there to waste their time, and they can sense it by you sounding like a pathetic little retard on the phone. Okay? So just be chill, be cool. You're there to sound professional, you're there to give them value. If they can sense from your tone that you're an expert, then they will trust you. But it's the exact opposite. If they can sense from your tone that you're scared, that you're nervous, they won't trust you. That's why I always tell you the first 1,000 cold calls, just do them as practice. Just do them as reps to get them in. So what's the difference between you and the guy finding success with cold calling? Probably their skill. tonality and self-beliefs, it most likely isn't necessarily the script. So yes, I am sharing the script with you, but the most crucial part is you, right? So let's jump into the script. So this is script number 1 that I want you to focus. I'm not even going to show you script number 2 because I don't think you guys need it. Hey John, I know I'm calling you out of the blue. Haha. All right, you don't say it like that, but hey John, I know I'm calling you out of the blue. I was curious if you could take on an extra 10 appointments this month. Right, 10 clients this month. Yes, we can, or you get an objection or a no. If you get a no, just hang up. If you get an objection, then you've got the objection handling cold call script I'll show you later. Awesome. We typically work with dentists to get them an extra 10 appointments a month. Would this be worth a conversation for you? Sure. Or an objection. Okay, perfect. Does Wednesday at 10 a.m. British summertime, if you're calling if you're calling America, then mention time zone. If you're calling the UK, for example, don't bother. Everyone's going to assume that it's your UK time. Okay, does Wednesday at 10 a.m. work for you? Excellent. I just need your email and phone number for the reminders and extra information you might need for the meeting. That's it. And then I've got the script for you guys to book them in perfectly, but excellent. I need your email, phone number for the reminders and extra information you might need for the meeting. And that's it. You just book them in. It's that simple. Hey, I know I'm calling you out of the blue, but I just wanted to ask if you guys can take on any more appointments. My name is Fedi Lecamus. You don't even have to say your name. They probably don't care about your name. My name is Fedi Lecamus. Yes, we can take on more appointments. Perfect. Well, I usually work with dentists to help them get an extra 20 clients a month. Does that sound like something that would be interesting to you guys? Yes, it does. Awesome. How about we set up a 20-minute meeting on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Is that okay for you? Yes, that's okay for me. Perfect. At this point, you're probably going to be asked, oh, what do you guys do? Or, what service do you guys offer? Just tell them, we use our unique marketing methods that have worked with XYZ dental practice to get them 20 appointments a month, and we just want to share it with as many dentists as possible in your area. However, note down, we will only be working with one person in your area, so no pressure, but don't forget to join the call. Right. You can make it a joke or whatever, just keep it incredibly high level. Don't say you do Facebook ads, don't necessarily say you do marketing. Just be honest with them and what you do, what you get them. Remember what I said, decision makers only bloody care about the end outcome. They don't care how you necessarily do it, they just care about the end outcome. Okay? So at this point, you're probably going to get an objection. So let's see how you can handle the objection. And most objections in cold calls are just knee-jerk objections. And as I mentioned earlier, that's people that kind of realize something or end up figuring something out, and they see this pattern and they're like, I've been in a cold call before, I hate cold calls, I'm going to say not interested straight away. And what you want to do is you want to handle it in a way where it interrupts their pattern, because once you've interrupted their pattern, you can get them to snap out of zombie NPC mode and actually speak to you like a human being. People are so done with getting cold calls that they recognize one and just shoo it away. They'll usually say, I'm not interested, or I'm busy. And the most important thing for you to do is not give in, because that's why it works. That's why they keep doing it, because they're used to people just giving in. Interrupt their pattern. Ask a question that leads back to your offer. You want to handle these objections like Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid. Right? So basically ride it like a wave. Acknowledge the objection, answer the objection/question, ask permission to ask a question, and then ask the question that leads back to your offer. Okay? So this is what it would usually look like. I'm not interested / we're all set. I generally laugh, by the way, because as I told you, in my mind, you're an NPC if you just have a knee-jerk response. I would usually laugh. I can't really do a fake laugh, by the way, so that's probably the best laugh I can do right now. Joking. Haha, all good. You would have cold called me if you were interested. I have a quick follow-up question though, John. Usually when I speak to dental offices, they are always looking for more cosmetic patients. Does that resonate with you at all? Then, I'm in a meeting. No worries. Does it make sense for me to tell you the reason I'm calling? Then you can tell me if I should even call you back. That's it. I don't have time to talk. Got it. When's a better time for me to call you? Instead of just going, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, thank you for the time, yeah, bye-bye. Especially with the I'm not interested. Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. Or, what do you mean you're not interested? Like a roadman, right? Call me back in X months / send me an email. So, I kind of handle this one a very similar way, because sometimes when they want an email, they generally do want an email, but I still wouldn't send it. So, this is what I would say. Great, sounds like you have something going on in X months. To avoid sounding like a clueless salesperson, what should I call you about in X months? Like, what should I call you about in 6 months' time? And then note it down. Call them back in 6 months' time. This is your sales. This is part of your business. This is the most important part of your business. Okay? Otherwise, if they said, send me an email, I would usually say, it sounds like you have something in mind. What would be most helpful? And usually, I'll just get a stupid response like just general information. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm happy to send you this email. Can I ask you a difficult question though? Most people who ask me to send them an email never reply, and they're too polite to tell me to go away. Is that what's happening here? So you'll find a lot of the time, by the way, guys, the best way to just get rid of an objection is to just be blunt and direct, but not in a mean way. And don't try and make yourself sound pathetic, right? But just be honest with them. Like, yeah, I'm happy to send you an email, but most of the time when people tell me to send an email, they're just trying to get me off the call, but they're too polite to tell me. Is that what's happening right now? And that's it, right? Smile through the phone so they can actually hear you smile and not cry and, about to commit suicide or anything like that from them telling you no. Typically, the dental offices we've spoken to have done marketing before but haven't reached the revenue level they were after. Does that resonate with you? So this is usually after we use competitor. I don't bash the competitor. I don't say, oh, you're stupid for using someone else. I don't say, oh, you can leave them. I'd usually just say, hey, well, are you open to seeing other solutions in the market? Are you open to seeing more of what we can do? Are you happy with how your competitor's been going? I imagine you guys are. I'm not here to pry, right? I'm not here to get you to change anything. That's it. All you're doing is acknowledging the objection, you answer the objection in question, you ask permission to ask a question, and then you ask the question that leads back to your offer. That's it. Now, one more thing when we look at my data is the show-up rate was very, very low, right? 10% in the UK, and then, 10% in Canada, 10% in Canada, 20% in the UK. Now, a big part of that, in my opinion, was how I would end the call. So how you want to end the call is very, very important to get them to show up. And it's all about respect. If they don't respect you because you've somehow swindled your way for them to book an appointment, then that's not going to be great, is it? And you want to make sure you have a standard when you book appointments on cold calls. Don't just book anyone because they said they're interested on the call. With the script I've just shared with you guys, it's really, really easy to get interested prospects who need your solution, especially if that solution is marketing, obviously, right? So when you're doing this, you're making sure that you can help them. And therefore, if they know that you can help them, by you sounding like an expert with your tonality, they will most likely join the call, right? So what you want to do to get them to show up, as you can see from my data, my show-up rates were low. This will naturally occur, right, because it's a cold call, so it will naturally happen, but you can do things to mitigate it. So you've got optimize your appointment booking with Calendly. If you use Calendly, just make sure you've got reminders a week before, 1 day before, and 1 hour before, and then get verbal commitment from the prospects. I'm going to show you what that looks like. And tell them they have to show up without telling them they have to show up. So for example, hey John, could you confirm that you got the invitation that I sent through? After you booked them in, right? Perfect. If you accept it, it will allow us to reschedule if anything comes up. And when you handle the reschedule, because they might think, oh, I should reschedule. I've got you penciled in my calendar for this time, this date. I hope you've done the same. If you cannot make it, John, no biggie, just drop me an email or a quick call. Again, it's no big deal at all. If you give me some warning ahead of time, I'm sure we'll find somewhere else to slot you in. That's it, right? And also, I don't understand where I found this, but for some reason, you guys would send your prospects to book themselves in after a cold call. You book them in. Book them in yourself. What the heck are you doing? Anyways, and confirm one more time. So you have to confirm with them one more time. Okay, thanks for your time, John. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Very simple. Very, very simple. Okay, so that's how you want to handle the show up. That's how you get more of them to show up. As I said, I stopped tracking it on these sheets when I was doing my cold calling because I had way more cold calls before and after. But I kind of want to show you guys one more time what this would look like for you, right? As you can see, when I first started cold calling, I didn't have any appointments, right? I started in April, didn't have any appointments. Again, no appointments. Still no appointments. And then, again, only 1 or 2 appointments. And then this was another sales call that I booked in. Still barely any appointments. And then I started figuring stuff out and I started getting appointments. As you can see, there are still some cancellations, but in May it started picking up for me. And then more appointments, more appointments, more appointments, more appointments, even more appointments. And this was when I was starting to pick things up when it comes to cold calling. As you can see, it took me how long? From April to June, so 2 months for me to get the hang of this. And then June, July, even more bookings in July, more bookings in July. And then in August and July, I stopped cold calling because I was like, okay, by the way, I've got a few clients by this point anyways. I was like, okay, I'm going to invest in different systems because, I feel cold calling isn't as effective with my skills that I have as well. But if you are going to cold call, this is how you do it. And if you want, again, all these resources, they're in my free school community in the description, so feel free to join. but this is your complete, no BS, nothing held back, all secrets revealed cold calling guide. You do not need anything else. I kid you not, you do not need anything else. And if you're curious about like how my students find using this, Nat just messaged me this morning saying, hey Fedi, I've got no more fearing of cold calling, booking some appointments now. He's booking in some appointments. Perfect. Well, hopefully he's booking in more than he wants to, but you get the point. You don't need to be scared of cold calling. Cold calling really is not that hard. Like, it's only hard when you put yourself in a situation where it becomes more complicated. Where you put yourself in a situation where you're like where you're basically putting yourself below your prospects. And once you're below your prospects, your tonality can't match that. Speak to them confidently and speak to them kindly. Be polite, but be direct. Because from then on, they won't see you as just another salesperson. They'll see you as an actual business owner who's there to provide value. And once you're providing value, they have no choice but to say yes to you. Because every business owner who's looking for more clients is looking for more clients. And that's the solution that they want fixed. So your service isn't going to fall on deaf ears as long as you use the script I just showed you to first of all pitch them your service, and then secondly, to get them to show up after your meeting. And if you are dealing with gatekeepers, then obviously use the script for gatekeepers. And look, I really hope this was a really useful video for you. If it was, feel free to leave a comment, leave me a like, subscribe as well to see more SMMA content in regards to sales. It won't be specifically SMMA, but cold calling, sales, all of that jazz, but I mostly focus on psychology and entrepreneurship and mindset. But if you're happy to join that, then feel free to, brother. God bless you. Jazakallah al khair. And I'll see you very, very soon.